AITA for labeling my son's school supplies and informing his next teacher they are not to be shared with his stepsister. My son isn't back in school yet, but I was contacted by his teacher for next grade asking if I had bought him all the required items and to inquire about any donated class supplies. While we were talking, I told her that I had labeled my son's supplies and do not want him forced to share those with his stepsister, not my stepchild, my ex's. I also made it clear I was not counting the donated class supplies I'd be giving, but just my son's personal ones. Last grade it was a constant issue and the teacher ignored me because it wasn't stated at the start of the year. So I got ahead this year. His teacher said she made a note of it and wouldn't make him share. My ex and his wife were contacted also. Her about her two kids' daughter and a younger son. Him about our son. His wife apparently told the teacher her daughter's supplies would be shared by my son, and she corrected them and said she must have his own because class supplies can't substitute him the entire year. This was followed by my ex calling to say they can't afford to do this shit. He said it was bad enough finding stuff for the kids to use when my son was leaving his supplies in the cubby at school, so they couldn't be used by all the kids. But now the school is saying they can't be divided between the two kids, and that I'm a selfish bitch for that. He said they're family and it shouldn't be this big of an issue. I told him I was not responsible for providing for his stepkids, that if they can't afford them then it's not my problem. He told me his stepdaughter will suffer, and I told him I do not care. It's not my job to make sure she and her brother are provided for. And I told him that I ended up spending way more than expected on supplies last year when our son was forced to share. Ex's wife reached out and told me I should be ashamed. I should be more willing to let the sharing happening. They're siblings and belong to the same family, innocent child. I told her that if she cannot afford to buy her kids supplies, she should find their dads and ask, not expecting me, who has nothing to do with her kids, to support them. For context, my son is 8. His stepsister is also 8, or literally about to turn 8, and his stepbrother is 5/6. My son wasn't willingly sharing the supplies. He was forced to by his teacher, and he hated it because she did ruin some of his best supplies, especially crayons and color pencils, but also his sharpener. I don't think it was intentional. It seems like she's just a rougher kid with stuff. Ex and his wife say I'm an ass and should feel so ashamed for willingly letting a child in the family suffer and for being petty. About school supplies, AITA.